Welcome back to Living Well After 50. 11% of Americans have diabetes. Want to know which fruits help or hurt your blood sugar? From blueberries to bananas, discover the best and worst fruits for diabetics. Stay tuned. And don't forget to sign up for our free newsletter for more helpful tips on living well after 50.
It's really fascinating how the foods we choose can have such a big impact on managing diabetes, especially after 50. We often hear fruit is good for you, but for those of us watching our blood sugar, it's not quite so simple.
That's exactly why we're doing this deep dive today.
Yeah.
Because it's not about cutting out fruit altogether, it's about understanding which fruits can be true allies for us. Let's start with the superstars, the ones that can help us keep our blood sugar in check. I'm personally a big fan of blueberries.
Oh, blueberries are incredible. They're packed with vitamins and minerals and antioxidants, which help protect our cells from damage. But here's what's really interesting about blueberries and diabetes. Some research indicates they may actually improve insulin sensitivity.
Okay, hold on. Let's break that down for a second. Insulin sensitivity means our body's cells are better at using insulin to get glucose out of the bloodstream. So better insulin sensitivity equals better blood sugar control, right?
Exactly. And blueberries seem to give our bodies a nudge in the right direction. Imagine starting your day with a bowl of those little blue gems, maybe mixed with some plain yogurt and a sprinkle of nuts for a boost of healthy fats and protein. That's a delicious way to potentially improve your blood sugar management right from the start.
That sounds delicious and easy enough.
Huh.
Now let's move on to another summer favorite, peaches. What makes them a good choice for us?
Peaches are wonderfully low in calories and a good source of fiber, which is so important for regulating blood sugar levels. Plus, they're a good source of vitamins A and C, which support overall health and immunity, something that becomes even more important as we get older.
So enjoying a juicy peach can satisfy our sweet tooth without the guilt and the blood sugar spike we might get from other treats. And what about apricots? Are those a good option too?
Apricots, whether fresh or dried, are a great addition to a blood sugar conscious diet. They're also rich in vitamins A and C, along with potassium, copper, and manganese. What's interesting is that they provide a steady release of energy, unlike those sugary processed snacks that can send our blood sugar soaring and then crashing down.
That steady energy release sounds perfect for those of us over 50 who are trying to avoid those afternoon energy slumps. Any suggestions on how to enjoy them?
One of my favorite ways is to slice them up and have them with some peanut butter on whole wheat toast. It's a delicious and nutritious snack that keeps you satisfied and helps maintain stable blood sugar levels.
Okay, we've got blueberries, peaches, and apricots on our list of diabetes-friendly fruits. What other fruits should we be adding to our shopping carts?
Well, let's talk about apples. They're a classic for a reason, right? Apples are high in fiber, which we know helps slow down the absorption of sugar into the bloodstream, preventing those dramatic spikes in blood sugar.
That's good news, because sometimes you just crave a good crunchy apple. And what about oranges? I know they're famous for vitamin C, but are they a good choice for managing blood sugar?
Oranges are more than just vitamin C powerhouses. They also contain folate and potassium, both of which can be beneficial for managing blood sugar. However, here's a little tip. It's best to eat the whole fruit rather than just drinking the juice.
Why is that?
When you drink juice, you're missing out on all that valuable fiber that helps regulate blood sugar. Plus, eating the whole fruit provides a greater sense of fullness and satisfaction.
That makes a lot of sense. So we're getting the most benefit from the fruit when we eat it in its natural form. Speaking of fiber, what about kiwi? I've heard they're a good source.
Kiwi fruit is amazing. It's not only packed with fiber and antioxidants, but also has a low glycemic index, GI. Now, the GI is a measure of how quickly a food raises your blood sugar level. Foods with a low GI are digested and absorbed more slowly, which helps prevent those sudden blood sugar spikes.
So a low GI fruit like kiwi is a good choice for those of us watching our blood sugar. What other low GI foods can we add to the list?
Pears are another delicious option with a low GI. And here's a little bonus. Make sure to eat the skin, as that's where a lot of the fiber and nutrients are concentrated.
Great tip. So far, we've got blueberries, peaches, apricots, apples, oranges, kiwi, and pears. All excellent choices for managing blood sugar. Any other fruits we should be putting in our fruit bowls?
Absolutely. Don't forget about cherries. They are often overlooked, but are truly nutritional powerhouses. Cherries are low in calories, packed with antioxidants, and some research suggests they may even contribute to better blood sugar control and heart health.
Plus, I've heard they contain melatonin, which can be helpful for getting a good night's sleep. And speaking of sleep, let's talk about another favorite, strawberries.
Strawberries are a fantastic choice. Not only are they delicious, but they also pack more vitamin C than an orange. They're also loaded with fiber and antioxidants, making them a perfect treat for those with a sweet tooth who want to stay on track with their health goals.
Okay, so we've got a pretty impressive lineup of fruits that can help us manage our blood sugar levels. But let's be honest, not all fruits are created equal in this regard. What are some fruits that we should approach with a bit more caution, especially if we're over 50 and watching our blood sugar?
You're absolutely right. While all fruits offer some nutritional benefits, certain fruits can be a bit tricky for those of us managing our blood sugar. One example is pineapple. It's delicious and nutritious, but it has a high glycemic index.
So that means it can cause those unwanted blood sugar spikes we're trying to avoid.
Exactly. And while mangoes are often called the king of fruits for their taste and abundance of nutrients, they're also high in sugar and carbs.
So moderation is key when it comes to enjoying mangoes, right?
Precisely. If you're going to indulge in a mango, opt for the firmer ones over the very ripe ones. They tend to have a lower sugar content. And while we're on the topic of moderation, watermelon is another one to be mindful of.
I love watermelon, especially on a hot day, but I know it can be high in sugar.
It is. While it's incredibly hydrating and loaded with vitamins and antioxidants, that high sugar content means it's best enjoyed in smaller portions, especially for those of us over 50 who are paying close attention to our blood sugar levels. Now let's talk about a fruit that many people enjoy, especially for breakfast: bananas.
I'm guilty of grabbing a banana on my way out the door sometimes.
Bananas can be tricky. They're high in carbs, sugar, and calories, which can lead to quick increases in blood sugar. So while they're a good source of potassium and other nutrients, there's something to be mindful of, especially if you're trying to manage your blood sugar.
That's important information for those of us who might be starting our day with a banana. So what other fruits should we be cautious about?
Well, grapes are another one to watch out for. They do contain beneficial nutrients, but a cup of grapes can also pack a significant amount of sugar. And let's not forget about raisins, those seemingly harmless little snacks.
I love adding raisins to my oatmeal. What's the issue with them?
Raisins might seem like a healthy snack, but they're essentially dried grapes. This means their sugar content is highly concentrated. It's a good example of how even small amounts of certain fruits can have a big impact on blood sugar.
So are there any other fruits we should watch out for?
Light cheese, while a good source of vitamins and minerals, contain a type of sugar that can be problematic for individuals with diabetes. They also have a high sugar content per serving, so moderation is key.
And last but not least, let's talk about dates. They're a natural sweetener, often used in healthy recipes, but what's the verdict on dates for those of us managing blood sugar?
Dates are a tricky one. They're a good source of fiber and antioxidants, but the drying and processing concentrate their natural sugars and calories. So while they can be enjoyed as part of a healthy diet, moderation is essential, especially for those of us over 50 and working to keep our blood sugar levels stable.
So as we've seen, making informed choices about the fruits we eat can play a significant role in managing our blood sugar levels. And for those of us over 50, it's even more important to be mindful of what we're putting into our bodies.
You're absolutely right. It's about being proactive and taking charge of our health. It's not about deprivation. It's about making choices that support our well-being. We've got a fantastic lineup of good fruits: blueberries, peaches, apricots, apples, oranges, kiwi, pears, cherries, and strawberries. And remember, even those fruits that we might want to enjoy in moderation can still be part of a healthy diet as long as we're mindful of portion sizes and balance them with those blood sugar-friendly choices. So what are some ways we can incorporate more of those good fruits into our diets, especially considering our busy lives and the unique challenges we face after 50?
That's a great question, and that's exactly what we're going to delve into after a short break. Stay tuned because we've got some practical tips and delicious ideas to help you make the most of those amazing fruits.
One of the things I find so empowering about this journey of healthy living after 50 is that we have more control than we might realize. It's about making small, sustainable changes that add up over time. And incorporating those good fruits into our diets doesn't have to be complicated.
I completely agree. It's about finding those simple swaps and strategies that fit into our lives. So let's dive into some practical tips for incorporating those blood sugar-friendly fruits into our daily routines.
Absolutely. Let's start with breakfast. For many of us, it's a meal that sets the tone for the day. How do you usually start your mornings?
I'm a big fan of yogurt or oatmeal in the morning. It's quick, easy, and keeps me feeling full until lunchtime.
That's a great foundation. And you can easily boost the nutritional value and blood sugar management power of your breakfast by simply adding a handful of berries.
That's such a simple swap. I can totally see myself adding some blueberries or strawberries to my yogurt parfait.
It adds that natural sweetness and a burst of flavor without the added sugar.
Exactly. And if you're in the mood for something a little more adventurous, smoothies are a fantastic way to pack in a variety of fruits and vegetables.
I love a good smoothie. I've been experimenting with adding spinach, a small portion of banana, some berries, and a little almond milk for creaminess. It's a delicious and refreshing way to start the day. That's a great combination. And you can always adjust the ingredients based on your taste preferences and what's in season. Another simple strategy is to keep a bowl of fruit out on your counter.
I love that. Out of sight, out of mind, right?
Exactly. Having that visual reminder, that splash of color from those beautiful fruits can make a big difference. It makes it more tempting to reach for a healthy snack instead of something processed.
It's like we're setting ourselves up for success by having those healthy choices readily available. Now, what about those times when we're craving something a little more indulgent, like a dessert? Are there ways to incorporate fruit into those treats?
Absolutely. We can still enjoy those sweet treats, but it's about making smarter choices and finding that balance. For example, instead of a large bowl of ice cream, try having a smaller portion and topping it with some fresh berries or sliced peaches.
That's a great idea. It satisfies that craving while also adding some nutritional value. What about baking? Can we sneak some of those good fruits into our favorite baked goods?
Absolutely. Fruit is a fantastic way to add natural sweetness and moisture to baked goods. Applesauce is a great substitute for oil or butter in many recipes, and mashed bananas can also add a lovely sweetness and texture to muffins and breads.
Those are great tips. I'm going to have to try substituting applesauce in some of my favorite muffin recipes. It's a simple swap that can make a big difference in the overall healthfulness of those treats.
Exactly. It's about finding those little tweaks that make healthy eating feel more effortless and enjoyable. Now, what about those times when you're on the go or need a quick and easy snack?
That's a challenge for me. I'm always looking for convenient and healthy snack options.
Well, let's not forget about the power of frozen fruit. It's a lifesaver for smoothies, but you can also use it to make your own popsicles or frozen yogurt bark.
That's brilliant. I'm always looking for ways to cool down during those warmer months, and those frozen fruit treats sound like the perfect solution. What are some other ways we can use frozen fruit?
Frozen fruit is incredibly versatile. You can add it to yogurt oatmeal or even chia seed pudding for a quick and easy breakfast or snack. And if you're feeling a little adventurous, you can even use frozen fruit to make your own nice cream.
Ice cream. Tell me more.
It's a simple and healthy alternative to traditional ice cream. You just blend frozen bananas with a little bit of milk or yogurt and any other flavorings you like.
That sounds delicious and so easy. So we've covered breakfast snacks and even desserts. Is there anything else we should keep in mind when it comes to incorporating these blood sugar-friendly fruits into our diets?
One of the most important things to remember is that portion control is key. Even with those fruits that are lower on the glycemic index, it's still important to be mindful of how much we're consuming.
That makes sense. It's about finding that balance and being aware of how our bodies respond to different foods. And of course, it's always a good idea to consult with our healthcare providers for personalized guidance.
Absolutely. They can help us create a meal plan that's tailored to our individual needs and goals. What's fascinating to me is how much we can learn from simply paying attention to what we eat and how our bodies feel afterward. It's like becoming our own health detectives.
I love that analogy. It's about taking charge of our well-being and making informed choices. And speaking of informed choices, I think it's time we move on to those fruits that we might want to approach with a bit more caution. After all, knowledge is power, especially when it comes to managing our health after 50. We've talked about a lot of delicious and nutritious fruits that can be real allies for us in managing blood sugar. But let's shift gears a bit and talk about some fruits that we might want to approach with a little more caution, especially as we navigate the unique health landscape of life after 50.
That's a great point. It's all about balance and making informed choices. Just because a fruit might be higher in sugar doesn't mean we have to avoid it altogether. It's about understanding the potential impact and enjoying those fruits in moderation.
Exactly. Knowledge is power. So let's dive into some of those fruits that we might want to enjoy in smaller portions or save for special occasions. We talked about pineapple earlier and how its high glycemic index can lead to those blood sugar spikes we're trying to avoid.
Yeah, pineapple is a good example of a fruit that can be tricky. While it's packed with vitamin C, manganese, and antioxidants, that high GI means it can cause our blood sugar to rise more quickly than other fruits.
So if we're craving pineapple, maybe we enjoy a smaller serving or pair it with something that helps slow down sugar absorption, like a handful of nuts or a source of protein.
That's a great strategy. It's all about finding those ways to balance out the meal or snack. Now let's talk about another fruit that's known for its sweetness. Mangoes.
Mangoes are so delicious, but I know they can also be high in sugar.
That's right. Mangoes are a good source of vitamins, minerals, and fiber, but they're also high in natural sugars. So while they can certainly be enjoyed as part of a healthy diet, it's important to be mindful of portion sizes, especially if we're watching our blood sugar levels.
So maybe instead of having a whole mango, we enjoy half of one, or pair it with some plain yogurt or a handful of almonds to help slow down that sugar absorption.
Exactly. And here's a little tip for choosing mangoes. Opt for the firmer ones over the super ripe ones. They tend to have a slightly lower sugar content.
That's a helpful tip. Now let's talk about another summertime favorite, watermelon. I know it's incredibly hydrating, but I've also heard it can be high in sugar.
Watermelon is a bit of a mixed bag. It's packed with vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, and it's incredibly hydrating, especially during those hot summer months. But it's also true that it has a higher sugar content than some other fruits.
So moderation is key with watermelon, just like with any other treat.
Precisely. Enjoy a slice or two, but be mindful of portion sizes, especially if you're being mindful of your blood sugar.
Now let's talk about a fruit that many people enjoy, especially for breakfast, bananas.
Bananas are an interesting one. They are a good source of potassium and other nutrients, but they are also higher in carbohydrates and calories than some other fruits. This means they can have a more significant impact on blood sugar levels.
So while bananas can certainly be part of a healthy diet, we might want to enjoy them in moderation or pair them with something that helps slow down sugar absorption, like a tablespoon of nut butter or a handful of walnuts.
Exactly. It's all about finding that balance. Now let's move on to another fruit that often gets a bad rap when it comes to blood sugar. Grapes.
I love grapes, but I know they can be quite sweet.
That's true. Grapes are a good source of antioxidants and other nutrients, but they are also higher in sugar than some other fruits. So while a small handful of grapes can be a healthy snack, it's best to avoid overindulging.
And what about dried fruits, like raisins? They're often marketed as healthy snacks, but I've heard they can be tricky for blood sugar.
That's because dried fruits are essentially concentrated versions of their fresh counterparts. The drying process removes the water content, which means the sugars become more concentrated.
So a small box of raisins can pack a much bigger sugar punch than a cup of fresh grapes.
Exactly. So while dried fruits can be a convenient and portable snack, it's essential to enjoy them in moderation, especially if you're watching your blood sugar.
Now let's touch on a couple of other fruits that we might want to approach with caution. Lychees and dates.
Lychees are a delicious and exotic fruit, but they contain a type of sugar that can be particularly problematic for individuals with diabetes. And dates, while a good source of fiber and antioxidants, are very high in natural sugars due to the drying process.
So like with many other things in life, moderation is key when it comes to enjoying these fruits. Now, before we wrap up, I want to touch on something that's really important to me, especially as I've gotten older. It's not just about what we eat. It's about our overall lifestyle.
I couldn't agree more. Food is just one piece of the puzzle. There are so many other factors that contribute to our well-being, especially after 50. Things like physical activity, sleep, stress management, and social connections play a huge role.
Absolutely. I found that incorporating regular exercise into my routine, even if it's just a brisk walk a few times a week, has made a world of difference in my energy levels and overall health.
Movement is medicine, and sleep is just as crucial. As we get older, it can be more challenging to get a good night's rest. But prioritizing sleep is one of the best things we can do for our physical and mental health.
And let's not forget about stress management. Stress can have such a negative impact on our bodies, including our blood sugar levels. Finding healthy ways to manage stress, whether it's through meditation, spending time in nature, or connecting with loved ones, is so important.
You're hitting all the right points. It's about creating a holistic approach to well-being. It's about nourishing our bodies with nutritious foods, moving our bodies regularly, prioritizing sleep, managing stress, and nurturing those social connections that bring us joy.
It's about living well in all aspects of our lives. And remember, it's not about perfection. It's about progress. We don't have to make drastic changes overnight. Small, sustainable changes can make a big difference over time.
And celebrate those small victories along the way. Each step we take towards a healthier and happier life is worth celebrating.
Absolutely. Now, before we sign off, I want to leave our listeners with a thought to ponder. We've talked about all these amazing fruits, both the ones that are our allies in managing blood sugar and the ones we might want to enjoy in moderation. But I think the real question is, how can we make healthy eating, especially incorporating those delicious fruits, a more joyful and sustainable part of our lives?
That's a wonderful question to reflect on. Maybe it's about exploring new recipes, trying different flavor combinations, or even growing our own fruits and vegetables.
Or maybe it's about finding ways to share those healthy creations with our loved ones, creating those moments of connection and shared enjoyment.
That's a beautiful idea. Food is meant to be shared and enjoyed, and by making healthy choices together, we can support each other on this journey of well being.
So to all of our amazing listeners out there, we encourage you to share your thoughts, your tips, and your experiences with us. How do you make healthy eating a joyful and sustainable part of your life? Let's keep this conversation going because we're all in this together. And don't forget to subscribe to our free newsletter for more insights and inspiration on living well after 50.
Until next time, stay curious, stay healthy, and keep on living your best life.